Welcome to the Resistance broadcast, everybody. I'm Captain Phasma. Thank you so much for joining us today. Joining me, as always, is James and Lacey. I'm just kidding. It's John. But someone out there might name their baby Captain Phasma, and it's causing a lot of problems for people. So it's pretty topical. But thank you for joining us. It is our Thursday show, discussion show. We were supposed to be joined by Ming Chen. Unfortunately, schedule conflicts happened. He wasn't able to make it, but we look forward to potentially having him in the near future or down the line, so don't worry about that. But we still got a podcast to do, and we will do it. Guys, what do you think about the that Captain Phasma thing? Because when I saw it was trending, I was like, oh, are they making another Delilah Dawson book or something? And I click on it, I'm just like, oh boy.
I need the full story. I don't understand the full story.
I think James has a good grasp on it.
Not really.
James was there. He was in the delivery room when it happened.
Yeah. Well, James was like, when they were having his son, he was like, Bennett or this Captain Phasma, I think there's going to be a real turn for her in the sequel.
Yeah. No, I guess long story short, it was like a Reddit post or whatever, and the guy was like, hey, me and my wife are really into Star Wars, and we were considering naming our daughter Captain-Phasma, as in, and he gave an example, but just like a side name, like Susie Ann or something, like a hyphen name. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of two names, but it would be Captain and then hyphen Phasma. And he was kind of telling the whole story about how, like his family, like he had some people who were kind of okay with it and some people who weren't, if I'm not mistaken. But the long story short of it is that he was kind of expecting like mixed results from people. He kind of just wanted to like feel out the room. Mm-hmm. And it's like trending on Twitter because people are like screenshotting it and like massively bashing the guy. And I know at some points too, it was funny too, because he's like, some of my other family members were saying we should probably go with like Gwendolyn or something, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like a real name that's like pointed at. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like, but he just didn't expect it at all. Like what I don't know. What do you guys,
would you name,
what do you guys think of?
Like, would you name a kid Sheev?
No. Not at all.
I mean, the weird thing is I feel like when it comes to names,
you're setting up the child's life. Like your personality and who you are is based off your name. I strongly believe
anyone
that.
Who like names a kid like Adolf now. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that to that kid?
I had a flood in my house once, and we couldn't get a plumber to come over to the house, and my basement was flooding. So I just Googled plumber in my area, and I'm scrolling through, and it's like Adolf something plumbing, and I'm like, no one's calling this guy. I called, they picked right up, they came right to my house after calling numerous plumbers.
He's trying to take the name back. He's trying to make it a good name again.
Yeah.
Lacey, every time you tell a personal, like, walk down memory lane story, you always are laughing as you're telling the story.
Because I remember how bad I feel like in the whole scenario. Right now.
You're remembering, and you're laughing as you're doing that.
I was watching Iron Man upstairs, and Matt comes running upstairs, and all I heard was, call, blah, 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 there's been an emergency. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that comes out of my mouth is my dad dead? Because he was downstairs. And Matt was like, no, our basement's flooding. Mm. So that's kind of what I was laughing at. Yeah. That I've now explained.
I don't know about the whole Phasma naming thing. I don't know about the whole Star Wars naming thing. Like, I don't know.
Look, like, can I give a hot take on this real quick? Because I think it's a bad move to name the kid Captain. Like, I think that's
I actually don't
not great.
I don't dislike the Captain part.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually think the name Phasma is fine.
Like, I don't like to do that.
I think they're both dumb. Why would you name your kid that?
Well, what I mean, look, like people, like I have a friend named his daughter Eowyn, and it's like, that's not really a name. It's a name from a book, you know?
That's a pretty name.
I don't know if, what?
That's a pretty name.
I guess I'm
Lord of the
trying
Rings,
to see
right?
like the difference. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of names, like there's something to be said about naming someone that has like a common name, and there's something to be said about naming someone with a unique name, a name that nobody else has.
Like,
so
do you think there's any kids out there named Tarkin?
There are a ton of kids named Kylo out
Tarkin's
there.
his
Kylo
last
is one of
name.
the top names in the past few years.
I know, but Tarkin is
Yeah.
the name that they know of, so that would be the one they'd be like, I'm gonna name my kid Tarkin.
Well, Tarkin's the last name again.
I know that, James. I know
Like
that his name is Tarkin. That's his last name. I'm saying people
Yeah.
don't know his first name in terms of general public. People like, I'm a
Mhm.
Star Wars fan. I want people to know I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm naming my kid Tarkin.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not Grand Moff
Was
Tarkin.
Leia a name before Star Wars?
Yeah, I think so. Right?
Not as popular. I would say it got popular after Star Wars, definitely. People
Also,
are naming their kids Katniss.
How about Star Wars and
Yeah, sure. Katniss is a good example. That's not a name.
I don't know
And
if-
then it was the name of this character, and then now it's a name. So it's like, okay.
Lacey has to bring
That's
up
kind of
Hunger
how I
Games
feel
every
about
podcast.
Phasma. Like, I don't think people are gunning to name their kids Phasma, but it's like it's not like it's a bad name, and it would make you stand out, and you could shorten it or go by a different name. People do that all the time. They go by their middle names and stuff.
The name Bella from Twilight was trending for like 2 years for baby
At least
names.
Bella to me is like a real name.
Yeah, but it was trending because of Twilight. People were like, oh, I'm going to name my kid Bella.
I get you.
Yeah.
And I got to be careful because you don't want to we don't want to start disparaging names because who knows who's listening and who has a kid named what, or what their name is. But
I think all of these names are perfectly fine. The only
Yeah.
one I think is weird is Captain Phasma. But John, at the same time, you have said before that you would name your kid a Star Wars name.
yes,
So
And that's it.
well, I can't.
So-
I'm not going to reveal my details.
You've already
Oh,
said
okay.
what it is.
But
Yeah.
Yes, you've already said it on the show before.
I don't
Well,
like.
don't bring it up. He doesn't want to say it now.
I do not like when, and this happened. I don't know. It's maybe more of an original trilogy thing, and maybe it's the director's fault or George Lucas's fault. But a lot of times, characters in Star Wars pronounce names wrong, and the most famous one being Lando saying Han.
Han. Yeah.
But Leia said Han once in Empire. And I think it was General Dodonna in A New Hope says Princess Leia.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm a continuity, like OCD. I have a big problem with continuity because I am a big fan of the suspension of disbelief. They should know that her name is Leia. Like, for you to mispronounce a princess's name who's one of the head honchos in the house and nobody bats an eye really bothers me. So for General Dodonna to say Princess Leia is so, like, if George was going to change anything in the original movie, you get an old man who sounds like that dude who probably was dead by the time they did the special editions and have him just say Leia instead of Leah.
Why wouldn't you
Who
just
knows?
have
It
him
might have been
redo
one
it
of
on the
those-
take? That's what I don't
I know,
I
but
know,
I'm saying-
but it could have been one of those
Yeah.
things where like you just can't get the guy to do it. Like he read it in his head, we even have those clips of now I can't think of his name. I'm so bad with names, honestly. But like it's I can't even think of Hux.
Yeah.
And he's in
Donald
there and
Gleason.
he couldn't remember the characters' names and stuff like that. And it's crazy to me that you wouldn't be able to remember a character's name because all we need is like a photo in like Entertainment Weekly and we got that character down,
Yeah.
for the most part.
I mean, it's not like he had to name Thrawn in his first full name.
Yeah.
Like, that guy would have been toast if he had to do that. All he had to say was Leia.
I could have seen them going through that take and they're like, it's Leia. And he'd be like, Princess Leia. And they'd be like, I think we got it. He like walks away. You're like,
Take
George-
74.
George Lucas is
That'll work.
almost having a heart attack trying to make the movie work. He's like, that guy's the least of my problems right now. The least.
yeah.
Like, I'm trying to get, like, I got hair falling off the Chewbacca thing. The droid's arms are falling off. The special effects aren't working.
I'm running out of money.
Spielberg said this movie's going to stink. Like, he's like having a heart attack. That old man saying Leah was probably on the number 5,000 on the list of problems he had.
True.
I had a guy who worked in retail with me, and half the store called him one thing and half the store called him another thing. And I was like, what's the correct pronunciation? Ugh, no, I can't even say that. What is the correct pronunciation of your name? And he goes, doesn't matter. I'll respond to either. And I was like, how are you so chill on that? Like,
yeah,
you know, like, I don't get it. And I pushed him for the answer, and he gave me a, like, my mom calls me this. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to call you that. And he's like, that's fine, but it doesn't really matter to me. Either way, I respond to both. And I was like, that bugs me, you know, like, it's.
Do you ever have somebody call you the wrong name and you're too uncomfortable to correct them?
I get Lisa all the time. All the time.
I get Joey sometimes because my last name's Hoey.
Every time I call someone on the phone, they're like, hi, Lisa. And I'm like, nope.
And Lacey, remember that happened to me at the premiere? I won't say who did it.
They called you Joey?
Remember after we were talking to people?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I remember what you were talking about, but I don't remember the instance.
I got really angry about it after. I'm like, you know that guy knows my name. Did he say it?
Oh, yeah.
Did he say it as a slip up, or did you say it to try to be like
on purpose?
To try to be like a pompous, you know?
I think it's a little pretentious of you to think that Bob Iger knows your name.
Bob Iger, there's so many regrets I have in my life, and that's me freezing as he walked by me with his security staff was one of them for sure.
I have a friend whose last name is Mike Sell, and he hates it when people say Mike Sells. He goes, it's because of the potato chip, I know, but it's like somebody being like, oh, Tom Cruise's. And you're like, it's not Cruise's.
Well, no, when people screw up a lot, they say Christopher Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Reeve. Just one,
or
not plural.
Who's the guy who played Green Goblin in the first Spider-Man?
Willem Dafoe.
That's it. William Dafoe.
Oh, William. Yeah.
Nah, yeah.
Yeah. I have a funny story about that. So my buddy, I know this isn't Star Wars, but we're just having a good time here. My buddy Keith tells me the story about how Dennis Leary would go to their Stu Leonard's where he worked all the time because he lived in the area, and his brother was in the store and saw him, and he went up to him and he said, "I loved you in the Boondock Saints." And he thought he was talking to Willem Dafoe, and he was talking to Dennis Leary, and Dennis Leary was not happy about it. Because, you know, they do both kind of have that bony white guy, blonde hair structure. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it's happened before where they've gotten mixed up. But boy, if I went up to somebody that I knew had notoriety of that, I would make sure I knew I was talking to the right person. You know what I mean?
Who's
I get that all the time with people, actually, where people come up to me like in public or at events or anything, and they're like, "Hey, I know you from this thing," and I'm like, "No," and they like picture this whole scenario where I've done something or I know their friend, and I'm like, "No." And I've gotten it my whole life. I don't know if I have a face that people just see and they think that they've seen me before. Oh, it's so awkward. You just stand there and you're like, no, I'm not that person. And then they think that you're messing with them a little bit. So I can imagine actors get that all the time.
Yeah. Tell me if this is worse or better. I get the same thing sometimes, but every time they go, where do I know you from? I feel like I have an answer for them because of the band. And sometimes it's like, yeah, and that's fine. And that feels good or whatever. I'm like, oh, they recognize me from something a long time ago. That's cool. But then when it isn't that, then it makes me look like a jerk because I'm like, you probably saw me on TV, you know, or whatever. Yeah. And it's like no. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, well, now I feel really weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder, like, because you imagine most actors probably don't like being approached, right? And like the whole adage is like someone like a Harrison Ford probably really doesn't like it. He's like a very grumpy guy. He doesn't like the dealing with fans or being asked about like Star Wars and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What other actors from Star Wars do you think would be very unapproachable? Or maybe you even I'm sure there's even stories where we might know of stuff, but I don't want to get into that. I'm just saying, hypothetically, just guessing, on the street, not at a convention or anything like that, at like a coffee shop, hey, how you doing? And get like completely stonewalled.
I think most
This is
of
my
them.
nightmare because I'm not going to remember
Most?
anybody's names.
I think most of them. I think Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley. I think John Boyega is the only one that would be like, hey, you know me, yeah, let's take a picture.
You know who I heard's cool though? Like, I think Ewan McGregor is like pretty legit.
Oh, he seems so cool.
Because I think Scott, one of our listeners, Scott Gibson.
Yeah, he saw him in a coffee
He took a photo
shop.
with him, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Because Ewan McGregor, it's like, in most circles, he's bigger than the sequel trilogy's actors,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
He doesn't put himself like he's better than things. Like,
yeah, unfazed.
Do you think
yeah.
Hayden would?
I think he would. I think he'd be
I think
cool.
Hayden would too.
Yeah.
If people were
I think
nice.
he would too.
He'd be like, hey,
Because
you
I
want
was
to come
kind of
we're
getting the
filming
feeling he
Little
would be
Italy
like,
3. You want to come
"Oh, you're
by?
a big Star Wars fan.
Come down to
that's
Little
cool."
Italy 3 set. We're going to kick some soccer balls.
I liked that movie. I
Did
hated
you?
his accent, but the movie was pretty
His accent
good.
was atrocious.
Oh, it was so bad.
What even accent was it?
It was like an over the top, but like then there were moments that he had a very neutral accent, which is
Hold
like
on.
nothing.
They filmed it in Toronto. Was it supposed to take place in Toronto?
No, it takes place in Little Italy in New York.
It does?
Yes.
Is there a Little Italy in like Toronto? Too?
No, it's
Probably
supposed to
Little
take place
Italies
in New
everywhere.
York,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And then like the airport they go to is supposed to be
Was it JFK?
JFK or something, but it looks like the Javits Center, but it's not.
Oh boy. Are they making a sequel? I can see another follow-up to that movie.
No.
Bigger Italy?
Regular Italy, and then the third one,
Yeah.
Italy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love corny romantic comedy.
Who do you think is the most like every time you see it, you're like, I just see that actor. I don't see the character.
For Star Wars, you mean?
Yeah.
Oof.
Hayden Christensen?
I mean, I
Really? No,
Yes.
I see other movies and I go, that's Anakin.
so
No,
wait,
that's
way
what I'm
around.
saying. I only see him as the character.
you mean on screen?
Oh, I mean the other way around. Mine is probably Samuel L. Jackson.
yeah.
Oh.
Like I can't connect him with Mace Windu.
I just
Like,
see him as Samuel L. Jackson in Star
I just
Wars.
see him as Samuel L.
That's the one.
Jackson.
That's on, or on a lesser extent, maybe Woody Harrelson.
Oh, yeah. Because he's very
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. But I love Beckett. Like that's one thing I felt Beckett dying was very important for Han, and we talked about that with Stephen Ford and how like that kind of like pushed Han over the edge to become the new Beckett in a way. But boy, that would have been cool if Beckett survived in a way, and part of a continuation of the story was Beckett trying to get back at Han and having the cat and mouse of the two gunslingers. Like I could have used more Beckett, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I thought and I'm a big Woody Harrelson fan as it is, so maybe that's why that is that way for me. It's just so funny. Like everything about Solo, it's like they made that movie for me to like it. I feel like I like everything. Even like now, I like when Solo came out, I did not like L337 at all.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely did not.
You didn't?
No, you didn't.
Oh no,
No, you
yeah, I
didn't.
didn't. I was annoyed by the droid rights thing, and I felt it was too over the top, and the like weird, odd, like sexual thing with her and Lando. I thought was a little not on par with Star Wars, and like even Kira's like, okay, but now I find myself like, I kind of like L3 a little bit. Like everything is getting, that movie is like, the aroma as you stir the pot is just getting better for me as that thing's simmering in the pot of Star Wars.
Since we're on Solo too, another one to add to that, and I don't know. I'm kind of like on the line on this. Like, does this person stand out, or does it mesh perfectly? But I kind of see Donald Glover.
Oh, I definitely see him because I know him from so many other things before Solo. And I'm a big fan of his music, so that's what I see.
It's
that's
weird
what I see.
to me because I'm still in that mindset of like I see this as perfect casting for Lando. It is weird though because as good as he is playing the character of Lando, and I feel like that is how Lando could have looked. I also could see somebody being in that role, you know, like looking different and it being like, yeah, that looks like Lando to me too, you know? Yeah. I think you have a lot of leeway when you're talking about a big jump. You know what I mean?
A bigger one from Solo,
like Alden in general, is just
Paul Bettany.
He's good though. He has he has a look to him that he kind of blends in. I feel like he's not someone that I would.
But you know, he was not in.
I do.
He showed up on set with whatever haircut he had, and Ron Howard's like, "All right, we'll see."
Yeah, because he's that attractive. But I feel like he doesn't have anything about him that you'd be like, "Oh, that's definitely him."
About Paul Bettany?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't feel like he stands out. I know, but that's why they had to give him like stuff on his face because he was too attractive. And so, John, I have a question for you. Oh, no. What's one thing you don't like about Solo?
It was too short.
Okay. What about a real answer? What's something you don't like about Solo?
All right. Let me think about that. Because I'm sure there's things I don't like about it.
We've talked about this one before, but I absolutely cannot stand that like extra space at the end.
Oh, where they're in
that,
the
like,
ship?
extra bar that they added drives me nuts.
This shot right here?
Yeah, it's like the music's playing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also 1 over here so you can.
I do have something that you're really gonna.
It just is like bad. Why? Why do you have this extra bar?
But I have to think about my least favorite part of Solo. Or think something I don't like about Solo. That's so tough.
I don't like the name thing, which we said with Steven. Like, I really don't like that. But
yeah, you know what? Maybe that. But even that, I'm just like...
You kind of forgive it because you like the movie, and I'm the same way. But I feel like that's the one thing that if I was like...
The only thing that confuses me about that is that he talks about his father, so it's not like he was an orphan. So why didn't his dad have a name? You know? Unless he was so estranged from his father that he's like, I'm not keeping the name, so I'm just Han.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's how I always took it. You know, I will say this about the Kessel Run is that I don't like this version of the Kessel Run more than what it was before. And I thought that the version that it was before was like really cool because it was kind of like a fan written story. And it actually made like a lot of sense to like how powerful the Millennium Falcon is and how fast it is. Whereas like, I think it's kind of weak to say like it's the fastest ship in the galaxy. I was able to win the Boston Marathon in 10 minutes because I took a shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that doesn't make the ship fast. Whereas the old Kessel Run story did make the ship fast. It actually was like impressive that it was able to do the Kessel Run in that short of distance.
Right. Now you have like kind of an asterisk on it. Being like, well, they did it because they had coaxium, and then yeah, and and that little thing at the end too, where like it's got to be perfectly lined up, and then the engine fails, and they're pointing in random directions, and it just so happens that it kicks in at the exact moment they landed back in that perfect spot to get out.
Dude, that's Star Wars, man.
That is Star Wars. That's like prime Star Wars. Yeah. That it perfectly works out.
I don't think there's any. Name another example. I feel like we're just going to get into arguing and I'm going to go, that's not the same thing because for this reason. I feel like what happens right there is like really astronomically lucky and it's not based on anybody's skill. Like astronomically lucky that they made it through the asteroid field. Sure. Like because Han Solo is that good of a pilot. He broke the odds. But this was luck. This was coincidence that it failed and then kicked in at the right moment.
I do not like, and I might be stealing someone's answer, because I think one of you guys may have said this before.
Well, I already gave like 3.
I don't like that Lady Proxima spoke English.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I think it
should have been subtitles.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like that it was just some old lady. Well, what happened? Like,
what happened, huh?
Yeah, it bums me out every time I think of it too, because they could have done something really cool with a voice.
Yeah. Or even
Yeah.
water based because she's always in and out of the water. Like they could have done a bunch.
Yeah, like make it like a
Like she's gargling, and that's how she.
yeah. That's what I was kind of thinking too. Like I don't know
Like,
how to say it,
watch,
but
I'll
like
do
you're
it
like.
I don't understand though why. That is like
Russian sort of.
There have been several occasions where they've done that. We heard that for Rise of Skywalker. The Win the War guy was supposed to have an accent.
But then they're like, let's just Mark Hamill.
He has an accent.
You're supposed to be an alien.
You mean
Mark Hamill.
Speaking another language?
Mark Hamill's like, can I just do another character?
Win the
Okay.
war.
Yeah. A message from a new ally.
Win the war.
You know what I think that is, honestly?
Yeah.
I think that is like if we have a character that speaks a foreign language and there's subtitles, then the adults are going to like it. But if we have a funny character who speaks English, the kids are going to like it.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's
neither
possible.
of those characters are funny though.
No, but they're funny because they're aliens and you wouldn't expect them to be like, hello, how are you? In a silly voice.
Would the you just made a clicking sound with your mouth work if it was in subtitles with an alien language? You know what I mean?
It's a good point. I don't think it would.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying with the comedic delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You just made a clicking sound with your mouth. Yeah.
But I'm still like but I
Alden's
think all
so
the
good.
stuff would work where he's like,
so good.
you know, you don't throw it away for Han. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that
Don't
could work
throw
with
it away
with
for
subtitles and
Han.
everything. Yeah.
So, James,
And when it shines on her, you could have had like an animal scream and not like somebody going ah.
I feel like it was a scream though. Like
It's like an old lady falling over.
They might have
It's a
added
Life
something,
Alert
but
commercial.
I hear like I think you could have like this really like alien style scream or something, like a screech. Maybe it's in there. I don't know.
So, James, I was looking at I'm not a big fan of like the Jurassic World movies by any stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But I was listening. I think it was because I've been watching all these dinosaur clips on YouTube with my son because all he keeps saying is I want to see a dinosaur. So I'm like, oh god, let me watch something at least I can like, because there's so many of those kid dinosaur commercials that make me want to bang my head against the wall. But so I found like the end clip I think of, or it's all the T-Rex clips or something from the Jurassic movies. And one of the clips is the very end of Jurassic World where the T-Rex climbs the top of the thing and screams. I think it was the first Jurassic World. And the music is really good. I'm like, I didn't like this movie very much, but the music's really good. I gotta see who did it. Giacchino, man.
Yeah, man.
So he did that, and now I'm watching Lost, and he's just like killing that show. So I always liked the Rogue One score. I'm like, he did a really, really good job. I loved his work with other J.J. Abrams stuff, like Super 8. I thought it was amazing.
He's so good at Coco.
Yes, but it's weird. Like, it's almost like when I found out John Williams did like Catch Me If You Can. I'm like, man, this movie's great. Let me see who did it. Are you kidding me? It's John Williams. Like,
yeah, like another big win.
Yeah, I'm like that's how I felt
person.
about Giacchino. So I'm like, this guy's got to get more Star Wars somehow. So
I don't want to get sidetracked.
I'm on board. Like I'm fully on with that guy right now. I'm on the Giacchino wave.
And not to get too
Giacchino
sidetracked,
train?
but another one for me was when I found out Hans Zimmer did The Lion King.
Yeah. Yes.
I was like, I'm hearing a lot about this guy. You look up The Lion King one time and you're like, he did The Lion King
Because everyone's
too?
all about Elton
Like,
John's songs that they almost forget that there was a composer.
Yeah.
It's all about the circle of life and Hakuna Matata. Meanwhile, Hans Zimmer's just crushing it.
Star Trek, Ratatouille, War of the Worlds.
Ratatouille.
Or no, I'm sorry, not War of the Worlds.
Ratatouille
War
was
for the
good.
Planet of the Apes is what I meant to say.
Coco might be a perfect movie. Everything about that movie is
It's
perfect.
a really good movie. Yeah. Pixar does not, like, they don't mess up.
Did he do
Onward
the
was
music
meh.
for
Really?
Coco, or did he do one song in Coco?
He did all the score for Coco.
He also did one of the recent Spider-Man movies, right?
He didn't do the singing songs and stuff. He did the score.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same thing as like the Elton John Lion King.
Composer. Okay, here we go.
So like at the end when he's in the audience playing and the guy looks at him to play the music and it's Skeleton Giacchino and he breaks the thing.
Yeah. I mean,
he also did The Book of Henry.
Womp, womp.
What may have cost Colin Trevorrow in episode 9.
He did that right after he did Rogue One.
I wonder if
he did Zootopia and Doctor Strange.
Zootopia is
do me a favor, can you
Inside Out?
Can you, or one well, I can
Jupiter Ascending.
I want to see, he did Jojo Rabbit, right?
I think so. I thought I saw that.
Taika Waititi's making the next Star Wars movie. That's all I'm saying.
It might happen, yeah.
Right?
Taika's like, yo, we worked good together.
Yeah.
Let's continue working together.
Yeah, who did the music for his Thor movie?
Probably Alan Silvestri or whatever that guy's name is. He does all the Avengers movies.
Michael did Star Tours The Adventure Continues, a short in 2011.
Thor
I don't know what that is, but it must be one of the like additions to the Star Tours ride or something.
I can't wait to go back to Disney again soon. Galaxy's Edge and Star Tours.
Mark Mothersbaugh did the music for Thor Ragnarok.
I have no idea who that is.
The music for Thor Ragnarok is very distinct. There was a kind of a viral video about Marvel movie music, and it was called like the Marvel Symphonic Universe or whatever. And their point was that why is it that you can like pick out certain movies and certain characters and be like, oh, like the Indiana Jones theme, for instance, and people be like, oh, I know that, dun, 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 and they can sing it, and then they're like, cool. Do you like Marvel movies? And they're like, love them. And I'm like, they're like, sing the Avengers theme.
Dun, dun,
sing
dun,
Iron
dun,
Man.
dun, dun,
Well,
dun.
the Avengers theme, this came out before Infinity War and Endgame. And I feel like those really push that particular theme. So now the Avengers theme is more popular and people can sing it. But like singing like the Thor theme or the Iron Man theme or things like that. And it's because those characters really don't have them and they kind of like hide what is considered their themes for behind dialogue and stuff.
Right.
It's just too many characters to be like, now it's this guy, this guy, this person.
I disagree. I don't think there's too many. That's like saying there's too many characters in Star Wars. So
in Avengers, there's like 5 billion characters.
I know, but you know Yoda's theme, right? Or like, I know it's like the Empire, but like that's people associate that with Darth Vader. People associate the it's now called the Force theme, but like
Star Wars,
Luke's
like
twin sons.
Star Wars movies are slower, especially like Empire Strikes Back, than like an Avengers movie. I feel like an Avengers movie is like borderline Michael Bay. There's a lot going on.
I still think they very easily could, in their own trilogies, have songs that stand out as like, yeah, that's the Captain America theme, man. They did it. And then when they do like Avengers, they could weave those in pretty easily, or even like very low, and you're like, oh, see, he says this line, then the Captain America thing comes in.
Why don't you think they did it?
Oh, I mean, it's not they like Marvel, but that video is great because they go into detail as to why, and the overall vibe of why they do that is because Marvel doesn't want to put they don't want to put everything on anything but their heroes. So like that's why they say Marvel has the villain problem kind of thing, is because the villains are expendable. They put everything on the heroes. So when it comes to music, they often sacrifice the themes and stuff for dialogue because they want their characters to speak and say things instead of leave it up to mystery.
Speaking of Avengers, I would love to see Chris Evans come to Star Wars. I think that's one actor I would take over to the Star Wars universe. And I was actually
John, who's your number one?
Looking at
Go ahead, Lacey.
I was looking at High Republic stuff, and I thought that he would be a really good like Stellan Gios if they ever did live action High Republic.
I feel so bad saying this. I don't like Chris Evans.
I think he's so good. He was so good in Knives Out.
Yeah.
He was so good in Scott Pilgrim.
Maybe I just don't like him as Captain America.
He's the perfect Captain America.
I don't think I like Captain America.
I like Captain America.
Oh my God.
I don't like that Boy Scout. I'm going to rip this tree trunk in half. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, that scene's so hot. What?
If I had to pick someone to go to Star Wars from Marvel, maybe like
I
Mark
just feel
Ruffalo.
Really?
Yeah.
What would you have him do? What would his character be?
Anything. He's a good actor. That's why I said it. No?
Have you ever seen that Ghost movie that he's in with Reese Witherspoon where like she's
Yes.
that movie?
Ghost of Girlfriend's Past.
No,
not that.
No.
You're talking about Ghost with Patrick Swayze?
No.
No.
So
Is it not Ghost?
Oh,
No,
Ghost Dad with Bill Cosby.
No. Mark Ruffalo rents this
Ghostbusters?
apartment and Reese Witherspoon's haunting it, and it ends up she's in a coma and he has to save her before they pull the plug. So she's not really a ghost. She's like in limbo. But Mark Ruffalo is like jaded and mean, and then she annoys him into being a good person.
Mm.
I'm looking it up.
And then
What's
she
the
comes
name of that
back
movie?
and then he doesn't remember she doesn't remember anything.
He's good in almost everything he's in, though.
Yeah, he's good in 13 Going on 30.
Spotlight.
Another romantic comedy. Very good in that.
Spotlight, Zodiac.
Zodiac, I've seen that. Very good in that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of it. Even that movie, what was that movie? Was it not The Kids Are All Right?
Oh, it's Just Like Heaven.
I think that was
Just Like Heaven. That's the movie. I could see Mark Ruffalo playing one of those characters that needs to like hack something, or they have to go to get a certain part from, like
I
a
feel like
Babu
he could-
Frick type
He can
character.
play like any role, though, I feel like.
No. You mean a DJ type character.
Yeah, a DJ, but not as lame. I'm sorry, that character is so lame.
I like Benicio
I like
del Toro,
DJ.
but whatever. Yeah.
So
wait.
I do feel like Del Toro was a little wasted though on DJ.
Yeah.
Like I like DJ, but DJ could have been
a bunch of
other actors.
A bunch of characters. Well, you said at the time, Captain Phasma was completely wasted. Like
That character, when they announced that character,
Game of Thrones, it's
yeah, and they showed that like mirror armor.
Mhm.
Oh my God, everyone went nuts. We were like, what?
Yeah.
I can't believe they wasted that.
Ryan Johnson was just like, I don't like that character.
That's probably another victim of the whole mentality of like putting your heroes first. Like
Yeah.
Probably.
you think like somebody could say like Phasma could be a really great villain. And they're like, yeah, but that would mean they'd have to like, I don't know. Like we want Finn to have a success here, you know?
That scene did feel very Marvel-y to me. Even the dialogue. Like,
Rebel
come on,
scum.
Chrome Dome.
I could say that.
I'm like,
It looks good though, the fight.
yeah.
And then
Especially in the
BB-8 shows
trailer.
up in that.
And they're like, yeah. No, but yeah, I want to go back to Lacey. You were saying you're excited to go back to Disney World, right? But are you waiting for like full back in business, or are you cool with going back to Disney World, like social distancing Disney World? Like,
So I've had some conversations with people online about this actually, and I've gotten some snarky replies from people where I'm like, right now, currently, I don't believe it's safe to be going to theme parks. Now I understand that people have their own lives and people have their own choices, and everyone's an adult and they can decide on their own, and that's fine. I personally think that it's irresponsible, but that's okay.
so when are you looking to go back? Is what I'm saying, I guess. Yeah.
Probably once the data shows that the cases have gone down in Florida, I would go down there.
Because you said soon, so I was like, oh, is she planning something?
No, I said I would hope to go soon.
Oh, right on. Okay. Yeah.
I love Disney so much. It's like my go-to. If I want to go somewhere, that's where I'm going to go.
I don't want to go to Disney. Like, I like going to Disney World and transporting my brain back to when I was 5 years old and being at Disney World, in a sense. You wanna, it's all about being a kid again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to go to Disney World thinking about a pandemic. So I want to go back. I don't care when it is. I'm going back when I can walk around freely and not step on a square and wait for my turn, and like however long it takes,
or just worry about other people. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is when everything's good and everything is fine, that's when I want to go back to Disney World.
Right.
And I'll wait however long I need to wait. I'm not going to spend the money that it costs to go to Disney World and feel I'm still not at Disney World, if that makes any sense.
Right. I want to go. I am like so sad and depressed that I won't be able to go to Galaxy's Edge.
I feel like I'm the only person who hasn't gone yet. You and me.
Me too. We are the only people.
James is like, I've been there, done that.
It's pretty awesome. I loved it.
You still have to do a Rise of the Resistance though.
Yeah.
So maybe.
And it's weird too because I want to watch like videos on YouTube and stuff, and I'm like,
don't do it. That's what Elliot told me.
I don't want to do it either.
Elliot went on it the other day. He was the only person in the cart, him and his wife. I was like, what? And that's why people are going, and I get it. Again,
we gotta have Elliot back on the podcast.
I mean,
I know we should.
Like,
he's great.
in a weird way, like if nobody goes to Disney World but they're still open, and then it's pretty safe to go.
If you live down there, like, okay, to be fair, if I lived in Orlando and I'm like 10-minute drive away, I'm going to go, you know what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I live 2.5-hour flight, which I then have to drive from my house to JFK, get on the flight, go to the flight, get from the airport to
book your, whatever, hotels.
Yeah. So if I lived down the street, I would probably be there every day too. And that's why I don't fault people in Florida that are going. Like, yeah, take advantage of it.
There's Disneyland too, and it was residents only, right?
Well, they closed it, but yeah, it was only like pass holders and stuff.
And I think that's exactly it. Because like as soon as someone comes in and they see there's a lot of people, it's starting to build up. You're like, let's just go home.
Right.
It's not a big deal. Let's just get out of here.
It's not a whole trip, whereas it's a whole trip for me.
They didn't want to expect people to come in and they're like, well, we've made it this far. We've spent all this money. And now that it feels dangerous, I feel stuck because I don't want to leave, but I don't want to stay. You know,
speaking of which,
that's where it gets really
you guys
tricky.
see like AMC theaters is coming back and they're going to play
Empire
classics for like 15 cents, like opening day. And one of the movies, like Back to the Future, is going to be playing, James. Empire Strikes Back. Like,
the bait has been set.
I'm going to show up there with coins in my pocket and be like, one, please. I'll go with my Vader mask on.
Oh, yeah. Just sit there. I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. I try to do those Vader videos with that thing on. It's brutal.
I remember all cycles of paying for movies. I remember going in and giving people cash.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going in places saying we only take cash. And I'm like, seriously? And then that was so long ago because everywhere takes card now.
I remember that too. Yeah, we only take
It's like all three stages. But I do specifically remember like we had this theater where you would go in and, you know, I remember handing the people money and then we'd go over to like the side where the arcade was, which is funny because do you ever see anybody in like a theater arcade, but they all have them? They all have this like one room that's like.
Well, my theater got rid of it except for a couple of them.
Yeah, we have a few. You were there, James. You saw we had a few machines. We don't have a room with an arcade though.
Oh yeah, yours were just kind of like
out there in the
on
foyer.
The wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most movie theaters that I go has like a little like side room that will say like arcade or something.
I think we've all come to the understanding that Ohio, it's 1997 in Ohio right now. You guys still have video stores.
You guys have the games though.
You guys have the video stores still. You guys have all this stuff going on that we had 20 years ago.
speaking of the video store thing, is I thought it was like kind of Dayton, Ohio-ish. It's not, man. It's like, I want to say it's like 23 states have family video.
Did you see the Blockbuster turned into a Airbnb?
$4 a night.
Well, you know how I saw that?
$4?
Because
what? Let's go. Where is it?
It's in Portland.
Oregon?
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle Larson can
no,
go.
Portland, Missouri.
Oh, you never heard of Portland, Maine? You banana?
Yeah, it's their
Portland,
capital,
Maine.
isn't it? Isn't Portland, Maine the capital?
Yeah, I think it might be. Guess they don't have maps in
I
Ohio
don't think
yet.
it is.
Banana.
You're an idiot. No one's talking
You're an
about
idiot.
Portland,
You
Maine.
tried to make me look dumb, and then it just backfired right in your face.
I love that he just came back at you. And
No
you're an
one's talking
idiot.
about Portland, Maine, where you're like, it's in Portland. People go, Maine? Like, who says
It's
that?
nice to clarify things, isn't it? Because imagine if you're like, hey, we're going to this show. It's in Portland, and that's all they tell you, and you got to buy a plane ticket, and you just assume it's Portland, Oregon, but then all of a sudden you don't realize it's a lobster fest in Portland, Maine, and you don't make it because you flew your dumb ass to Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and you missed the whole lobster fest for no reason.
No.
And you're
First of all, John goes up
if
to
that
Maine for
legitimately
vacation.
happened, I would be like, that is your fault for not specifying that it's Portland anywhere else but Oregon.
Portland, Maine.
I don't think that's their capital.
Are you Googling it? Google it.
I'm gonna go out there too. If you listen to the show and you live in Maine, no, I'm not talking to anybody. Actually, there's literally nobody. No listeners listen
What's
to
the
Maine. Do
capital
you know
of
that
Maine?
I've only not been to 2 states?
Oh, it's
Alaska?
Augusta, Maine.
And Maine. Yeah, I was gonna say
Is
that
it
doesn't
Augusta?
sound right.
Yeah.
Oh. I only know Portland because I've been there. That and Bahaba.
You've been to Maine?
How many cities are
Yeah.
Portland in the United States?
Probably like,
I would bet like 11.
yeah, I was gonna say probably 15, maybe. It's usually higher than you think.
There's more than 30.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's always higher than you think.
In your face, Baney.
No, that's just not. That is not a win.
What?
Oh, mama.
What were we even talking about? Oh, the Blockbuster thing.
Yeah.
I found out about the Blockbuster thing because Family Video sent me the shirt and stuff, so I followed them.
Mhm.
And I
Wait,
saw
why did they
that-
send you a shirt?
Because I posted that video about their
He
store.
took a video in the store.
Yeah, and
Oh.
they used it on their Instagram and their Twitter, and they were like, hey, man, we want to send you a shirt. And I was like, okay, cool. And I said, I'll take a picture of the shirt when I get it, and then you guys can use that too. And they were like, great. So
I love
but
that
anyway,
James
I
is a
followed them.
family video influencer.
I guess so, yeah. So the thing is I'm doing it right now, I guess. They
He's like, have you ever listened to Metalcore Family Video?
they were making fun of Blockbuster because they were like, it's our last store, and they're like, come and talk to us when you're in like 23 states or so. We're like, we don't care what you do, just as long as you stay out of the Midwest. And they showed like one Blockbuster on the map, and then like every state in green that has Family Video.
It's like the undercard
You
version
lose.
of like Wendy's versus McDonald's on social media, which is like a thing. The fast food restaurants like sending their social media interns at each other on Twitter. and
Joke's on you. It's an agency and not an intern.
stuff. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Some
All those
idiots.
accounts are run by agencies.
for sure.
Some idiots
Yeah, but
who's
still,
like, I am.
Have you guys
Slim
ever
Jim."
seen like Nihilist Wendy's?
No.
It's like a joke account that has like a ton of followers, and it's like really funny.
So wait.
I really wish they made like themed. I know they have a hotel obviously coming to Disney World that's like a big ship and everything,
Yeah.
but like just like themed places you can stay, like a Blockbuster, but Star Wars related.
I still need my Taco Bell Star Wars toys from you, Lacey.
Yeah, I have a box of them.
I need all of them, every one of them.
They should make a 90s theme hotel.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It's like my childhood.
And then you could go, like, you could stay, like, in the Blockbuster room or the
Titanic
Nickelodeon room. The Titanic room.
If I was to describe my
Shawshank
childhood...
Redemption room.
No,
what if they have the Oval Office? Then it gets a little weird.
Oh, come on. If I was to explain my childhood, it would be like Star Wars, Nickelodeon, N64, and like Titanic is like my childhood.
Did you guys play any of the old Star Wars games on like Sega or Super Nintendo?
Sega. No, I played Sonic. The Hedgehog
Star Wars
2.
games? I had like an Empire Strikes Back game for Atari.
They had Atari. Wow.
Yeah, and you would go. It was like, it's so bad. You know how Ataris are. It's like a white screen, and then like a gray like random ground. And then you would like move way too quickly and loosely. You're like a square, and you could fire a block. And then
again,
you would like
in the 90s. He's back in 1974.
Yeah.
It's like Ohio is like
Ohio
20
got
years.
Atari in 1995.
What were we talking? You said. Did you play any of the old?
I'm joking. I'm
games.
saying that that Ohio is behind by 20 years. So wherever we are.
No, I got the joke. It just was irrelevant.
Did any part of the game feel like Star Wars or no? Like, did it have music or anything?
So the typical Atari thing is you would just like fly off the screen, and it would just like flicker, and you're in like the next screen, but you're on the other side of the page now. You know what I mean? It was like you just kind of like loop. And then you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then randomly there'd be like, you'd flip to the screen, there'd be like an AT-AT there. And it's like walking, and it would like fire, and you would have to try to like avoid the bullet coming at you, you know? And you had to like hit it, I think like perfectly under its jaw or something. Man, this is weird. Like I'm trying to remember this. And it's been like, 30 years, no, not 30 years, 25 years probably.
They had, I know for Super Nintendo, they had a game for each of the original trilogy movies. And it was called like Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, and Super Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, and you had to like ride on the Tauntaun.
Yeah. Those were cool games. But I like my family always like for each system upgrade that came out, we chose one way or the other, and we were a Genesis family. So we weren't a Super Nintendo family. So for those games, I always had to like go to friends' houses and be like, "Hey, you have the Star Wars game? Check that out." Meanwhile, I'm playing Sonic 2, and Golden Axe, and all those cool like.
I have all those old games too because I have the Raspberry Pi thing.
Genesis is still pretty legit.
Well, it's the thing
Genesis?
that has the games all on it. Like I have every.
Wait.
Every Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega game.
Are you allowed? Is that legal?
Probably not.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's not like one of those things. It's like
It's an emulator, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
it's not like one of those things where you're like,
We're gonna lose our Sega
I
sponsorship.
steal from people.
Yeah, no.
I steal
It
from
just
gas
magically
stations.
showed up
Probably
one day.
not legal, but- I mean, it's kind of one of those things like nobody's gonna.
Meanwhile,
come after
James is
you, I
like,
think.
those damn kids that downloaded those Prada songs took money out of my pocket.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always a weird debate over like, if you were selling your CD, you probably would not have sold it to someone. But because you gave it away for free, they became fans. You know what I mean? They probably wouldn't have bought it for full price, but now they're your fan because they were able to hear it and go, oh, this stands out above everybody else that I'm getting for free.
I have something I want to pitch to you guys, even though this is on the podcast right now.
Oh, I was going to say for the CD thing, I had a CD growing up that was the John Williams soundtrack for all the Star Wars songs, and I played it all the time to the point my parents told me to stop playing it.
She's laughing again. The stories.
My parents told me to stop playing it.
Oh, you still have it?
Somewhere, I'm sure.
Should we do a drive-by of your parents' house with like the bullhorns that they put on top of police cars and just blare it at like 4 a.m?
So I have a bad habit of if I like a song, I will play it until I'm sick of it. Like I'll play it on repeat until I can't listen to it ever again.
Like
and then
what?
I'll move on to the next song. Anything. My friends in college called it the rotation. I would play 5 songs and just play them on repeat over and over and over and over again until I get sick. And then I'd switch songs out, switch songs in. I've been doing it since I was little. So that was like the same thing with Star Wars.
What's the last one you've done that with?
What do you mean?
What's the last song you've done that with?
Yeah, not the one you're currently driving right now.
Which one did you just
but like
previously
the last
kill?
one that you're like, I'm so sick of this now.
Oh, I'd have to look
Probably
on my
something
phone
Ariana
instead.
Grande.
Ariana Grande is so good. I could never get sick of her.
Really?
So your whole thing's out the window.
Yeah.
Well, I still have rotation though. I don't know. I'd have to look at my phone. My phone's dead.
Can I reveal something now? Because maybe at this point in the podcast, people have tuned out. I do not like Taylor Swift.
Okay. I thought you were going to give some hot take about Star Wars.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like sacrilege to say that.
I love Taylor Swift, but that's fine.
Yeah, I wanted to pitch this idea to you guys just for fun. What if we did a fake Mandalorian trailer reaction video with us just guessing what we're seeing, and we're like point out things we pretend we're seeing, almost like as a guessing game for like a minute and a half, not necessarily now, but at some point, and then when it actually comes out, do a real one and see how ridiculous our fake one is compared to the real one, or if there were any accuracies.
That could be fun.
Maybe.
I still want to do one of those reactions. A reaction to me watching the original trilogy for the first time.
Wait, say that again?
I want to do one of those fake videos you see on the internet all the time of people watching the original trilogy for the first time.
You want to do a fake one?
Yeah, I want to sit there and I want to be like, oh, I bet Obi-Wan killed his dad. Or whatever. Let's
do it right now.
Like all these random things, and then make it extra extraordinarily shocking when things happen. How would we do it right now?
I could do the dialogue and you could be pretending you're watching.
Oh my
God. All right, give me one.
Okay. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
No, this is the big one. Oh. Do a little one.
Like a surprise?
Not like just not the biggest reveal in all Star Wars.
I promise for the listeners at home / watchers at home, this is not how the live show is going to go next week.
Yeah. We're going to have topics and stuff.
Oh my gosh. This is the weirdest stuff you've ever done.
I don't know.
This is 2 years of building up to this.
Yeah, I don't know.
We were at peak back in August of 2020.
I don't know, guys. All right, well, we're coming up on an hour, so we can probably call it here. But stuff like this is
time of death.
It's fun, only because sometimes scheduling conflicts come up, and you gotta wing some stuff. And we could have, ran through more news and topics and stuff. But sometimes I think just letting people in and hearing us this is pretty much what it's like if we weren't recording and doing our thing and talking about Star Wars while sprinkling other stuff in. So I don't know. You're pretty much hanging out with us here for an hour, and little palate cleanser, a little different change of pace. Almost like a little bit like the State of Star Wars podcast episode we did about a few weeks ago that everyone said they really liked. So I don't know. That was fun. Different. But that's about it. I don't even know if we should even do the traditional outros. Like, make sure you subscribe to the show. YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your podcast. 2 episodes every week. We got the Mando fan show coming back in 2 months. Mandalorian's coming out in maybe less than 2 months, guys. It's just insane to think about.
My boy's coming back.
That is crazy.
Star Wars, this boy?
Nope. That's Green Boy.
Green Boy.
It's funny. I was thinking of something else to keep the show going, the conversation. I was going to have you guys pick a helmet that you'd like to own, but it can't be a bad guy. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Mandalorian would win that one. Yeah.
Dibs.
I was like, he kind of...
Mandalorian.
I was trying to look for like I don't know,
What
like
about Luke
more interesting characters.
Luke Skywalker X-Wing.
Nope. Mandalorian.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Actually, the first one I thought of, the first good guy character I thought of was Enfys Nest.
Yeah, that's a really cool mask too.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Make sure you go to Star Wars Newsnet every day. Teespring.com/stores/Resistance Broadcast for all of your gear. And Patreon.com/Resistance Broadcast. We have to thank the generals. Jeez.
Get to thank the generals.
Yeah. Sorry, generals, but we.
And it has nothing to do with car insurance.
Our generals on Patreon: Carmelo, Andrew Staley, Jeremie Myers, Neel Shah, David Probus, John Risi, Micah Harrison, Michael Gaines, Jetta Rosewater, Bethany, Russ Harbison, and Kendall Gelner. One take Hoey, always crushing those names. If you guys want to support us, patreon.com/Resistance Broadcast. We do 9 mini episodes every month on the page. So if you want more content, there it is. Or if you just want to support us, tiers start at just $2 every month. So we appreciate everyone coming aboard and supporting us. As you go up the tiers, you get more perks. Tier 2, $5 a month, you get to submit topics for us to use on the show. Your questions get zoomed up to the front of the line. Tier 3, you get inside our Discord server. That's being a commander. You also get all the stickers that we come up with. You're going to get via mailings. And then Tier 4 and 5, Admirals and Generals, we do private Zoom calls with that group there. And you get different kinds of merch like mugs and T-shirts. And the Generals get to hop on the show and do the Patreon Putter. So that and more, just check out the site. We couldn't do this stuff without you. We couldn't do all the extra shows and videos we do without you because we put a lot of time and heart into this stuff. So if you want to consider supporting us, we really do appreciate that. So check out your tiers. And if you want to sign up, cool. You guys can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey and at StarWarsNewsNet.com. And Mando Fan Show, baby. It's coming back. It's coming back. James?
Twitter and Instagram at Myra Trunks. And we're also going to be doing that virtual cantina and stuff. The live show next week and stuff. Lacey, you want to talk about that?
We're doing a live show in a cantina next week.
Well, yeah. Okay. You can sign up now.
You can sign up now.
Oh, yeah. You can sign up now until Monday if spots are still available.
Still available. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing a live podcast next Thursday. Obviously, more online of what we typically do on a Thursday. So you're going to get your Will of the Force or One with the Force. And we're going to have a good time with a discussion and your tweets, your questions. And we're going to kind of do that and hop down the hallway, virtual hallway, right into the virtual cantina and join you guys immediately after our live show, where it's going to be broadcast live on YouTube for anyone who can't make it on the Zoom call or wasn't able to get a slot. Hopefully we have enough people to show up to fill those slots. That'd be great. And you can chime in on the chat and live chat and get us there. And of course, it's going to be on the podcast feed too. And a lot of other cool stuff that we're probably going to be announcing on Monday in terms of all the other details about that weekend, because we really want to do a little bit of a TRB celebrating Star Wars type of thing. And we know a lot of people are doing stuff that weekend, other podcasts, other content creators and stuff. So any portion of time you want to spend with us, we appreciate that, and support everybody else. And then we do a whole positive deal as a community together, of course. But that's it. So
people can find me.
Oh, yeah, Lacey's, yeah, sorry.
So I am part of this podcast. People
I got thrown by the virtual
people can find me laughing at my own jokes at Lacey Gilleran on Twitter and Instagram.
And what about our Instagram too, Lacey?
At the Resistance Broadcast.
And Star Wars News, that right? All right. Yes. Everybody, enjoy your weekends. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you Monday morning with another episode right here on the Resistance Broadcast. See you around, kids.